right, it's Monday. It's back to business time. And, of course, we always welcome our good friends from Albuquerque Business First on the show. There it is.
There they are.
Oh, yeah. And Dennis Domzowski, old friend and one of the reporters for Albuquerque Business First. Good to see you again, Dennis.
Hey, Larry, it's always a pleasure.
Yeah, good
Aaron,
morning.
nice
Thanks
to see
for
you.
being here.
You said saving the world.
There you
right?
go, saving the world one word at a time, one comma at a time.
There you
That's
go.
it.
Semicolon at a time.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Dennis is a bit of old
You have to be
school.
saved.
Yeah, right.
So I don't know if I'm doing anything.
Well, you keep plugging away. All right. Let's talk about the cover story this week, and that's all about the Heart Hospital of New Mexico.
Actually, New Mexico Heart Institute.
Excuse me.
So
Sorry.
actually, and there are two things. Yeah, the New Mexico Heart Institute is a physician's practice here, about 30 docs, 220 people total. And they've just
Including Dr. Barry Ramo.
Including Dr. Barry Ramo.
Right.
And, you know, it's this little, they've been flying under the radar actually for a long time.
Yeah.
And it's a real gem. You're talking about world-class work right here in Albuquerque. And so, you know, I started writing a little about them last year, some of the firsts that they've done. And I said, my gosh, I just need to tell as many people as I can a little more about them. So it's a wonderful practice. It was actually, I think, founded, it began in 1970, 71. Dr. Barry Ramo got here in 72 from Duke University. He's been here ever since. And the practice is based on doing the best possible clinical care that there is. Research, which I think a lot of people don't know about, and then of course education, both education for doctors and the community. Last year they had 3 firsts here in New Mexico, 1 first in the nation. The first in the nation was a ruptured abdominal aortic aneurysm. There's a big artery in the back of your, and in older guys mostly, you get an aneurysm and it bursts, and next thing you know, you're bleeding from the inside. Yeah. Well, it's fatal in 80–90% of the time. And the process that they got to use, they got to cut you open. They basically gut you, as the doctor said. Oh, yeah. And they take your insides out, they set them aside, they put a towel on top of them. And then they got to go fix this thing. It takes about 8 hours. That's normal.
Oh, my gosh.
Last year, Dr. Steve Hainow managed to get a stent up a guy's artery in his thigh. She got it into the aneurysm, where the place where the thing had burst, and he had this thing repaired in 20 minutes.
Oh, wow.
The guy,
that's here in Albuquerque.
Yeah.
First of its kind procedure. Huh?
Yes, actually in the nation with this device. So it's fascinating to watch these guys, and they deserve a huge shout out, and they deserve, I mean, you're getting the best heart care here, basically in the world, right here in New Mexico, right here in Albuquerque.
That's comforting.
And people kind of seem to overlook these things. Like, we have one of the best cancer hospitals, one of the best heart hospitals on our backyard.
Yeah, so the practice has been, you know, growing over time. And here's what they're doing. I mean, you know, they're attracting people from Stanford, from Harvard, from all over the country. And they come here because they get to do this really cutting edge stuff. And, you know, if you're in practice, that's what you want to do. So they had another procedure. It's a fascinating, I love this one. Bad heart rhythms, you know, your heart goes goofy and stuff like that. And atrial fibrillation, I believe.
It's irregular heartbeat.
Yeah, regular heartbeat. Yeah, thank you. I'm getting a little too geeky here. Anyway, irregular heartbeat. And there's this little sac on top of your heart that you really don't need. And it fills with blood and it messes everything up. So normally they'd have to cut you open again and do something to it. Now they can just stick a thing up there through one of your arms or your legs, and they tie it off. And it eventually wilts away. It turns into scar tissue.
Wow.
But here's the thing, and it helps. Most of the people who have this condition have to rely on blood thinners. And what is one of the main ingredients in blood thinners?
It's rat poison.
Yes! Rat poison!
Really?
Yes,
it's
it's
true. Coumadin is rat poison.
Yeah.
Oh.
And so you've got all these people. I was amazed when I was chatting with them. And they said, yeah, well, it's rat poison. Patients really don't like taking rat poison.
Oh, my gosh.
So that was a first in New Mexico that they were able to do here. And there's a couple more. They're currently involved in 22 clinical studies. Really interesting stuff. So this is a real gem, and I wanted to let people know about it.
it's nice to see good news coming out
Yeah.
lately.
It is.
And
for a
just to
change.
clarify, the Heart Institute built the Heart Hospital, I
Right.
think, in 1998. And then because of the ACA, the Affordable Care Act,
Yes.
it barred doctors from owning hospitals. I have no idea why, so they had to sell. And they sold to Loveless, and they have like a basic operating agreement with Loveless.
see.
Yeah.
They're across the street from each
Yeah,
other. So.
exactly. Yeah. So, but it's really neat stuff.
Well, this is a fitting subject since it's also Heart Month.
Yes, it is. For the rest of the week.
Yeah.
Well,
did
and
February
you
go?
know, I bought some of my tools with me. I've got them out in the trunk of the car, Larry. If you need some work done, Aaron, if you need some work done. I got a sharpening stone for my scalpel.
Yes.
Yeah, and yeah, this could work out. You know, you got to have a sideline these days.
Yeah, you do. Everybody's got to have a second gig.
Exactly, and I've been studying brain surgery on the
Oh.
weekends.
Is that so?
Yeah,
Good.
it's
Do-it-yourself brain surgery.
absolutely.
Oh my God.
Here's the problem: the book I got it from a discard sale at the library. The book that I'm studying from, it's missing a few pages, but I'm not worried. I think I can. Kind
Well,
of,
you know, as men, we don't read the instructions anyway.
Exactly.
So we just kind of figure it out. Well,
gosh,
it looks
yeah.
like this works, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Well, are there any other, so what else is happening at Albuquerque Business First? Any big events coming up that we should know about?
Well, you know, I'll give you a little tip. Next week, this Friday, we're running a massive story about cover story.
Okay.
It's somewhat of a relaunch because we're doing something called pinstriping, sort of relaunching the paper with different fonts and things like that.
Oh.
We're doing a massive takeout on Albuquerque's economy, its sole dependence on the federal government, how other cities that have had a single economy, Pittsburgh, Oklahoma City,
Right.
their economies collapsed.
Yeah.
And they had to reinvent themselves. We're lucky in many ways that our economy has yet to collapse, meaning the feds have yet to go away and they won't. But they're facing a steady decline over the next couple of decades. And if we don't do something, that's our sole industry, basically.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think we've become just so dependent on
Yeah.
the government.
And this conversation's gone on for years.
Yeah,
It's just,
and it hasn't changed.
Lip
So
service.
I wanted to look at what did these other cities that had to change, that either had to change or die,
Right.
what did they do? And it's a relatively simple process. The tough part is in the willpower and the leadership, and then the execution. So it'll be a fun read. We just looked at what other cities did. Can you do it here? I don't see why not, but
Yeah.
it's going to take some of both of those things that you mentioned.
yeah, and so it's kind of a challenge to the community, to the business. Hey, I've been here 28 years, and you've been here longer than I have. And as you said, we've heard the same stuff
Right.
over and over and over again, and basically I'm tired. You've got to do something.
I kind of think it won't happen until
It actually
something
happens.
actually
Yeah,
happens.
the
Then
other interesting
when this-
thing, you know, Pittsburgh, when their steel industry collapsed in the late 1970s,
Yeah.
Right.
they were in denial for 10 years. It wasn't until the early 90s.
Until they turn it around.
Yeah.
Well, that's unfortunately how it is. We
Yeah.
don't do anything until it actually happens.
But
we don't
we're
put
actually should be
preparation
some
plans in place until
but we're
something bad
not
happens.
dumb. I mean, we should be able to say, "Whoa, let's put something together."
Yeah.
It's flabbergasting to me. It really is.
And since, you know, we live in a time now that economic development, the rules of that game has changed. It's no longer really about attracting the big factory to come in and provide a bunch of jobs. If that happens, great, but you can't count on that anymore.
Yeah, and it's not a game of chance anymore.
No.
It used to be kind of, there used to be so much stuff out there that there had to be some spillover. Now, if you don't have the proper workforce, if you don't have a place that people actually want to live,
Right.
no one's going to come here. It's a totally different game, and it doesn't happen by accident anymore. So in other words, you have to go out and actually plan it, then do it, and then follow up, measure yourself.
Right.
Totally different game, Larry. You're right.
Yeah. Well, you kind of touched on it. We could become like a healthcare magnet.
I
you know.
think I
we
think that's a
could do
real
that.
possibility. Yeah, and you know, with the expansion of Medicaid, You've got all these ancillary healthcare workers, home healthcare workers, blah, blah, blah. UNM can't train them all.
Right.
But you've got a bunch of stuff up in Rio Rancho now that can train, maybe be a regional training center, bring these people in, train them, shoot them out the door. Because
kind of a Mayo Clinic sort of thing.
Absolutely.
Keep them in our state.
Exactly.
Yeah, so there are a lot of possibilities. Can we seize them?
If you want to know more about the New Mexico Heart Institute, check it out online at albuquerquebusinessfirst.com, as you see there, or the print version. It's all there for you. Dennis Domzowski, the reporter on it, and you can send your thanks and kudos to him for all the good
Thank you, Larry.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you.
Yeah,
It's
thank
always
you.
It's a pleasure.
And let us know about that story. that
Yeah,
you put out this weekend.
it'll be this Friday, and that bear looks like Boo Boo from Yogi Bear. Remember?
Yeah.
It does.
What do you say, Boo Boo?
All right, Boo Boo. We'll be right back with Stacy Sacco and some networking for you next.